Welcome to Sideline Judgment. My name is Sergio.
My name is Tyler, and you can suck it.
Oh, the smoke is coming out immediately. What's going on, Tyler?
Your college fantasy team can suck it because I won.
Tyler, we've been talking for a half an hour. You haven't mentioned this once. I hate you.
I'm keeping it bottled up. I have been waiting since Saturday afternoon to open the podcast with this because I won my first game of the season of my college fantasy team, and I beat your very own Fenway Franks, Sergio de las Prias team, and you can suck it. I'm no longer last in the league. I'm 7th out of 8.
I guess it looks like we've moved Fantasy Football Update from the bottom of Quick Hits to the top. So while we're here, Tyler, we might as well just bring up the fact that I am tied for first place in our Dynasty Money League, and I am also in sole possession of first place in my other league with my high school and college friends. 4-0 in that league, 3-1 in the Dynasty Money League. Talk to me when you win a game in the league that matters. All about the money, my man. All about it. Oh my gosh. I can't believe we just jumped right into that. You ambushed me, Tyler.
We were talking for like a whole half hour before, and I was like, I gotta keep it in.
We were talking about work life too. We weren't even talking about the Gators or like personal life. We were just talking about how our jobs were catching up, and you just ambushed me.
Hey, life comes at you fast.
Friends be like that. It be your own people.
It be your own sometimes.
Oh man, I guess that's my fantasy football update. Like, you just smoked me this past weekend in college fantasy.
Hell yeah, I'm telling you, trademark overcorrection week.
Listen, let me ask you a question though. Would you rather have the victory in the Dynasty Money League or in the College Football League? Don't pretend like you're thinking this.
Okay. I want to have one victory in college fantasy.
So you're glad that it was me?
I can't go over. I cannot go over. And it is funnier to me that it was you that I beat. I would prefer a win in the Dynasty Money League.
Yes. Which
I lost this week. Rip me, but I'm coming back.
So to recap that, you are 7th out of 8 in the college fantasy.
Hell yeah,
Tyler, I'm 6th. I'm in 6th, dude. So
you were like tied for first at this time last year.
Last year we were killing it, man. The league that we started, we are close to the bottom. Love to see that happen.
How do you feel? How do you think Rutgers feels?
Oof, Rutgers. Honestly, some. I don't know. Okay, so I was gonna come in with this and saying that Rutgers is gonna have some optimism because they can finally find a new coach. They've recently fired their head coach, and then again, I was thinking about it. I'm like, this is like week 6. This is like the earliest that I've seen.
What? He didn't even make it out of September.
Right.
The first month of the season. My question about this is firing Chris Ash at Rutgers the right idea?
It's definitely the right decision.
Definitely the right idea. But why do it now? I just don't understand. Yes, there's a whole... I mean, I am of the belief that, like, if you're not going to do it... Like, it's one of those, if not now, when?
Yeah, I get it.
Like, stop giving people more years. But at this point, I'm like, you're just opening up the door to lose the team.
And you know what's worse? You know who their, like, targeted candidates are? Greg Schiano and Butch Jones.
Yeah. I actually don't... I'm not sure if Greg Schiano would be a bad hire because he was good there before.
I agree.
I personally I just want to see Butch Jones head coaching team again. Just because for content purposes.
For content
you know
purposes?
about how we are here. We're all about the content.
Oh, our second favorite team is content.
Mm-hmm. I don't think either of those are good hires.
Mm-hmm. Can I give you a take before we move on from this?
Go ahead.
So, I was talking to Raul yesterday about this, and I mentioned to him, I said, the only way that a program like Rutgers is going to get out of this perpetual hole that they've been in for as my entire lifetime. So, those Greg Schiano Rutgers years were like flashes in the pan. So, for the most part, they've been pretty horrible. The only way it's going to happen is if something like what is happening at Kansas right now with Les Miles. They have to go out and get this old-time coach that kind of still has it, isn't completely washed, but definitely isn't prepared to coach at the highest level anymore and wants to just kind of take on a good project. That's why I love the Les Miles at Kansas hire, because I think it's the perfect situation. I want to be as happy about Rutgers as I am about Kansas right now, and they need to find someone like that. The only problem is that The only person that fits that profile right now is Urban Meyer, but Urban Meyer is going to be coaching UC at USC in like 2 years. So,
well, one thing. I mean, it is a case. I said this when Les Miles was hired. It's a case that you got to walk before you can run, and I think that's what they got to focus on right now. Rutgers has to focus on walking before they can run.
Agreed.
So, and also New Jersey, the state of New Jersey, it's not a hotbed, but it does have football talent.
Yeah.
So they got to find a guy that can get the football talent in New Jersey.
We think of football talent to be in the South and in California and in Texas, but the Northeast has some players, and it's just finding them that you can find.
Yeah. You brought up California.
I did bring up California. Do you want to talk about California?
Yeah, we got to talk about California. This is probably the biggest.
Wait, hold on,
story.
1 second. Hey Alexa, can you play California by Childish Gambino? Go ahead. I just internally in my head got some background.
Okay, I was curious as to whether you had an Alexa in your room that was going to start playing that.
No.
But yes, this is probably the biggest story in college athletics, but it's kind of been so long coming that it feels kind of under the radar. Mm-hmm. California passed a bill that is basically, by the year 2023, going to allow student athletes at the college level to make money off their image and likeness. Mm-hmm. Now it's kind of a pay the players thing.
But not exactly.
But not exactly. Like USC is under no obligation whatsoever to pay any of its football players. But if they are to use their image and likeness as a promotional material, if you put Stephen Carr, the running back, up on a billboard, any money that you make off that promotional wise, you have to pay him for.
Right.
That being said, I've seen countless universities and such put out graphics with random guys in a uniform with a number on it that are clearly just models.
Right.
So if you use that, you don't have to pay anybody.
But here's the thing, though. What if, for example, let's take this weekend, right? We're going to talk about the Gators game against Auburn in a bit. We're going to talk about the throwback uniforms in a bit. But they had an entire photo shoot with those players in the uniforms and then use them to promote the fact that they are having throwback uniforms and to promote that you can purchase certain gear on the Gator shop. Would in that case, if that California bill is passed in, say, the state of Florida, would they then the university be required to play players like Kyle Trask, like Jacob Copeland, like the god Tommy Townsend?
I think that for those particular pictures, because those particular pictures are like the ones they put on social media, no.
Okay.
But
this is a big question. The distinction is important.
They can sell a jersey without a name on it, but now a university could sell a Trask jersey, and they have to pay Kyle Trask part of that money.
Right.
And the ramifications of this, there's a reason that this bill is not going into effect until 2023, because this changes a lot of the way that people organize the way things are paid right now, because you don't have to pay anybody about a lot of these things.
Specifically the NCAA. Specifically the NCAA.
Yep. But I think that I've kind of always thought that this is the best way to bridge the gap between to pay the players, but in a way that it's kind of put the onus on them, because you get paid what you're worth. But the cool thing now is that now, Kadarius Toney, for example, can go and do a promo at at La Tienda in Gainesville.
I would first of all, you should go to La Tienda, regardless of if Kadarius Toney.
That queso is fire.
The queso is ridiculous. Continue, but yes, I get you, right. And or for example, the kicking god Eddie Pinheiro, when he was at UF, could have easily, and I know this is stereotypical, but could have easily gone to Miapa and done a thing with Miapa about Cuban food, and you know who would have been there first in line? Your boy.
Your boy.
wearing his Eddie Pinheiro jersey. Wearing his Pinheiro jersey.
I think, and another thing that you have to think about this is. Well, I joke about it is that there are people online who think that this is not good for the sport, but I have to say booster's going to booster, and what makes you think these players weren't getting paid? Now it's just legal.
Bags have been dropping.
Bags have been dropping. Now you can just drop them in broad daylight.
For me, it's more of a. This is the last thing before we move on, but for me, it's more of a washing money type of thing, where like,
Mhm.
in not watching money, like people are going to use this to watch their own money, but like, oh, we're going to pay, let's use that Kadarius Toney Latienda example. We're going to pay Kadarius Toney $5,000 to promote Latienda, but in reality, he receives a bag of $20,000. You know what I mean? Where it's like,
Ooh.
we're going to give you, you know what I mean? It opens the door to those kind of things. And I understand that's the NCAA's concern, but you know this, I know this, our listeners know this. Sideline Judgment is a pro bag dropping podcast.
Pro bag dropping all the time. You know what else I'm pro dropping?
What?
A new NCAA football video game, because that's probably where we're going to go.
So I texted you this, and you were just like, don't worry, already on board, already thought it through. If this means, right, this is the last thing before we move on. If this bill goes into pass, if other states start to pass this bill, if it ends up becoming actually like law, like legal law or whatever, we could be seeing an NCAA video game where every single player receives a check for using their likeness and their image. Especially on a week where players are finally now, I saw on Twitter, players are finally now receiving their settlement checks from that huge lawsuit from the NCAA. So, big time happening.
I can't wait.
Can't wait. Let's go ahead and move forward.
I didn't even think about that when this bill passed, but now I'm just like, yes, pass the bill in every single state.
Yep.
Give me the football game back.
I just don't care about the ramifications anymore. Just make it happen. Let's go ahead and move forward. We're going to quickly talk about this game before we get into rapid reactions. We want to spend the majority of our time this week talking about that big Auburn game that we will be in attendance at, my friend.
Yes, sir.
Sideline Judgment is taking back the swamp. We are going home for homecoming. It'll be my first time going back home since I graduated, but we'll talk about that later on.
Same for me, actually. It's my first time going back to Gainesville since I will have graduated.
I know, but I've been a year longer. Ugh. Not to one up you, but like, you know. Let's talk about Florida and Towson. 38-0. It was a shutout. It was the defense's second shutout this season, which is, I don't care who you play, shutting out a team is a really big deal.
It's hard. It's really hard.
You know what else is hard? Breaking the consecutive completion school record, which is something that Kyle Trask did.
Yeah, with 18.
18, my man. And it was to start the game, right?
Yes, so he had three completed completions to end the last game, and then had 15 straight. Whatever. He had 15 straight completions this game. So that is a span of 18. That last was set. That record was last set by Chris Leak, and Kyle Trask broke it.
I'm telling you, man, the parallels with 2006 are scary.
They're big with this team.
Scary, my man. I love it. I love it. Wasn't that Urban Meyer's second year?
That was Urban Meyer's second year.
Okay, we're gonna talk about it later. Okay, I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but we have a problem running the football.
Yeah, and it has nothing to do with the running backs.
No.
It is the offensive line.
Listen, P. Ryan and Pierce, and I'm going to say Malik Davis, no one else will, but I will justice for Malik Davis, are doing a really good job in running the football and finding holes where they can. The problem is, and you know that we're not here to bash individual players, but just as a group, listen, this line needs to get better. And Mullins said so himself in the post-game press conference.
Yeah, basically, it's a really young group, and I don't want to overreact because the offensive line that was very good at the end of last year was not this good at this point last year. So these things take time, but the problem is that all of the probationary time is over.
Yeah,
you've got two straight top 10 matchups. You got two straight top 10 teams in the next 2 weeks with Auburn coming to the Swamp, then LSU the week after that. And then you get, I think we play South Carolina or Vanderbilt, I'm not sure. But then in a couple weeks, we have to play Georgia and Jacksonville. The time is now.
Yeah.
So it looked a little bit better.
It's trial by fire at this point.
At this point, yeah. I mean, the offensive line I do think is very good in pass protection.
I agree, and I was having this discussion. I wasn't having a discussion, but I was reading the discussion on Reddit and stuff where people were arguing, saying that the line is horrible in all aspects, and I disagree completely. This is a really good pass protection offensive line. The problem is
good because the strength of the team right now is the pass.
Correct. Yeah, Kyle Trask, we're leaning on his strengths, and he's a better passer than he is a runner. But the problem is that in order for defenses to respect our passing game, we need to run the football. especially in an offense where the primary way that we set up that play action pass is running the football. Like a Mullen offense needs a good offensive line, And he was agitated. I'm very excited to see tomorrow night the HBO 24/7 college football, the premiere. The Florida Gators are premiering it, and it's this week on Townsend. And
do not talk to me if your school is not on HBO.
Honestly, like, why even bother?
I will only take trash talk from Arizona State, Penn State, and Washington State fans.
That's it.
All these other peasant schools can go kick rocks.
Honestly, yeah. Don't even like, not even in the same sentence as us. But no, seriously. And Mullen mentioned that he was mic'd up during halftime, and he said he lit into them. I am very excited to see what Mullen said to them on Wednesday. Because it's going to be a really big insight. Is there anything else that really bothers you or sticks out from this game? We could talk about the offensive line ad nauseum.
There's nothing to say that hasn't been said as far as looking backwards. The defense played great, even though they didn't have two of their best players. Yes, it's against Towson, but they shut them out, and I can't really complain about that.
I just want to say, Jaden Hill, you need hands, bud.
There's a reason he is playing defensive back.
Yeah, but you need some hands, bro. Because both Wilson brothers make that catch. Tease Tabor makes that catch. Vernon makes that catch.
C.J. Henderson makes that catch.
And if you want to hold yourself to that standard, and that's just the recent cornerback standard. We got plenty of DB history, but that's just the last 4 or 5 years. You need to make that catch, my man. Vern takes that to the house. CJ, all of them take it to the house.
Yeah, well,
Marco Wilson took it to the house once. Like in a game, I was there. There was a Kentucky game, the blowout.
Yep.
All right, my man. Anything else to say on this game?
No, nothing else.
All right, we'll spend the majority of our Gator talk later on in the show talking about that Auburn game. But first, Tyler, let's take a look back at what happened this week in college football. Let's go through our rapid reactions. If you don't know, this is just where we put a timer on Tyler's phone. We have a maximum of 1 minute to talk about each individual game that we like. We probably won't take a minute for each of them. But it's basically just comments that we want to talk about. And so
just all the other things that we didn't cover last week.
Exactly. If it's not a 5 wide or a 2-point conversion game, it's in this section right here. So without further ado, Tyler, let's set the timer.
In
3, 2, 1. I hate you, and I hate Devonta Smith, and that's all I got to say.
Devonta Smith, marry me right now. Marry me right
because
now.
Because if Devonta's
250 plus receiving yards, 5 touchdowns in a single game, got me 62 fantasy points. 62.
No, at your wedding, does anyone object to this marriage? I will raise my hand and say yes, because if Tyler marries Devonta Smith, then I have to hear this and see this person for the rest of my life, and I will never hear the end of it, and that's not happening. As your friend, I will defend you.
I just love that Devonta Smith always gets buried because it's Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs and Jalen Waddle, and Devonta Smith's like, no, I'm gonna get mine.
The Alabama wide receivers are like 7 deep.
It's insane.
Crazy. Moving forward, I don't want to talk about this anymore. So, Tyler, the next one you wrote is Clemson wins on a 2-point stand, and I made an addendum, my friend. Clemson did not win on a 2-point stand. University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill lost on a failed 2-point attempt. And there is a difference, my friend. There is a difference.
Okay, so UNC, I mean, they did lose, but that's because they ran the same 2-point play that they've ran before.
Yeah.
And I love that, like, Dabo Swinney and every Clemson player afterwards were like, yeah, we knew it was coming.
Yeah, they knew exactly what was happening.
What do you feel about Clemson only winning by 1 point and dancing in the locker room?
The same way that if we were to win by 1 point in a
I don't care.
in a tough conference game, because this is clearly a different UNC team. Like let's put it this way: this is Missouri this year. If we beat Missouri by 1 point and we're dancing in the locker room, I'm fine with it. You want to know why? Because this Missouri team is better than the Missouri team last year.
Yeah, Clemson is clearly not as good as we thought they were right now. They could get better, but it's a win.
Right.
Take your wins.
They are not the number 1 team in the country for me, but alas, we're going to move forward.
All right, we got to move on.
All right, a very controversial topic in the Sideline Judgment family: Wisconsin's uniforms. Tyler, you hated them.
What are you wearing?
Khakis. Listen, I love them.
They're terrible. They're high school discount San Francisco 49er uniforms.
Can I make an addendum?
Yes.
I said to you that I liked them before I saw the bottoms. I only saw the tops. And I was like, why are we mad at these Wisconsin jerseys? They're pretty hard. all red, WU,
looks
no
terrible.
names. And then I saw the highlights of the game, and I was like, oh.
That's the reason. The khakis are the huge part.
Can
It's
I-
like
can
they
I-
literally found, like, they just put stuff together. And I hate that it was like, that's throwbacks, which meant that at a time in Wisconsin's history, that was the uniform.
But that's kind of the most Wisconsin thing I've ever seen.
Very true. Very true.
Moving forward.
All right.
Auburn smacks Mississippi State. A pretty bad Mississippi State team. But the story here is we want justice for Bully.
Bully was ready to throw paws.
Bully the Bulldog was going to throw some paws.
He was about to.
You know what? Bully the Bulldog was going to throw hands, and he doesn't have hands. So think about that.
I don't have anything else to say.
All I want to say is our game day sign this week will read "Win for Bully."
Win for Bully, yeah.
Win for Bully, baby.
And people will misread that and think it means something else, but the real ones will know.
No. Oh, only real ones will know. Don't worry. Sideline judgmenters. Judgmenters? I don't know. We're still thinking of a name. You will know. Sideline judges.
Judgmentators.
Moving forward. Arkansas is much better than we thought? Question mark. Or
and no.
Or is A&M a little overrated?
Both. This is a bit of a rivalry game. This game historically is always close.
It is, yes.
Pygmy Baker Mayfield played really well.
I like to let the listeners know that I made the comparison to Baker Mayfield, and it was literally
it's Ben
because
Hicks we're talking about.
The Arkansas jerseys look so damn close to the Oklahoma jerseys, and he was
He's
wearing number
the
6,
same number,
and he was moving the ball.
Yeah, Texas A&M does look a little worse than we thought. Also, Texas A&M could just be really gassed.
Yeah,
they played Clemson, Auburn, and then a rivalry game.
And then what? Next week? Not next week. In 2 weeks, they have who took the 3:30 game? They have Alabama.
Yeah, oh no.
Poor guys, man.
Which Florida's be playing in Baton Rouge at night.
I just want to. Yes, we'll talk about that later on. Yes, I just want to say, Jimbo, welcome to the SEC. Continue forward. Georgia Tech scores not 1, but 2 points against the Temple Owls.
This is can you imagine if you're Jeff Collins right now and you're like, it happened again? Because he was here at Florida when we lost 27-2 against Florida State.
I know. And it happened against his former...
The most defensive coach ever. The most defensive coach thing ever, to only score a safety.
It happened against his former team.
Against Temple.
Can I tell a quick story?
Go ahead. You got 30 seconds.
One time, one of my high schools lost a football game 4-0. That is 2 safeties.
Do you hear the sound of silence?
Yes. Simon and Garfunkel.
No one should have won that game.
No one.
I think there should be a rule that if all you've scored as safeties, like if either team scored as safeties, it's a loss for both of them.
I agree. I support that.
That's like going like we like Alabama LSU in the defensive struggle of like that 2011 game. That's gone even way past that.
Oh, for sure. That's 6-3. No, this is not even close to that. And good thing it was high school. Let's move forward. Iowa State loses to Baylor, and Tyler, you were saying you watched part of this game.
Yeah,
I did not. Go ahead and tell them what happened. Tell the listeners.
So Baylor and Iowa State play each other, obviously, and Baylor it's very slow, but they get up to a 20-0 lead, and they kind of dominate. And then I don't know what happened, but Iowa State just turned it on in the fourth quarter. Iowa State scored 21 unanswered points in the fourth quarter to get to a 21-20 lead with like a minute left. And then Baylor is able to kick a game-winning field goal to win 23-21. Which, props to Baylor for winning. Props to Iowa State for really fighting and coming back, and Brock Purdy for putting up some fantasy points, but also actually being a good quarterback. But Baylor, don't give up a 20-point lead with 15 minutes left.
It's the Big 12.
But they'd held them to 0 for 3 quarters. I'm not taking that excuse.
Maybe they don't. Maybe the defense isn't aware they're supposed to play all 4 quarters.
All right, I don't know. Let's move on.
Let's move on. Tyler, let's move on to the team that allegedly destroyed my best bet of the weekend. Utah returns to form, beats Washington State, and the story here is Mike Leach, please do me a favor, stab me in the heart, spit in my eye, and call me a wuss. Thank you, sir. May I have another? If Mike Leach played the drill sergeant in Full Metal Jacket, the movie would be just as impactful.
More so, I would say.
I would say so. What did he say, Tyler? Tell the
Mike
listeners.
Leach basically, like, I don't know how the exact quote in front of me, but he called his team fat, dumb, entitled. Like, all they want to do is play Fortnite.
He used the term happy as a bad thing.
I know there's some people that are mad about this, but I personally love it.
I loved it. Listen,
I mean, he's a football coach, and his team is playing badly.
We need characters like Mike Leach in this world.
Yeah,
and
I'm glad that
he's like a genuinely good person. Like, he's not that person that like says those things out of spite and hatred. He just says those things because he's Mike Leach.
All right, we got to move on.
All right, last one. UCF fans are going to hate this one. Pitt almost losing to Delaware.
To freaking Delaware!
I want to remind you, Delaware's star football player in their history is Joe Flacco. Take with that as you will.
Okay, fairness to Pitt, Kenny Pickett, their starting quarterback, was injured and did not play in this game. That being said, you should not almost lose to freaking Delaware. The discount Michigan Wolverine helmets.
Oh my gosh. I do like their colors though.
No, Delaware looks great.
Yeah,
like it's a
top
nice
25
color.
Top 25 color scheme.
But also don't almost lose to freaking Delaware.
Don't do that. Don't.
This Pitt team makes no sense.
I don't get them, man. Oh man. Okay, that's been rapid reactions. Let's go ahead and push forward to do 5 wide and our 2-point conversion. I just want to point out I made ground this week. Round of applause for me. Hey, slowly but surely. If I gain 1 point for the next 3 weeks, we're tied, baby.
That's a good point.
All right, let's start with the first game, the one that Sergio got all the way right and Tyler got so wrong.
So, I don't think I've ever been more wrong about anything in my life.
This is, honestly, Tyler, I've known you for, what, 4 years now? 5 years?
About 4 years.
About 4 years. We've been, like, good friends for, like, 3.
Yeah.
I consider us, like, best friends for about 3, right?
I would agree.
And I've never heard you have such, like, you're really smart. You know your stuff. This is the worst I've ever seen you have. And I have
never been so dead wrong about something in my life.
I feel bad for you. You picked Maryland when Maryland got routed 59-0. I got a notification today, Tyler, that said that the Penn State student section won the Taco Bell Student Section of the Week award, and they were on the road.
Maryland really canceled class and got everybody to go to this game on a Friday night.
It was a blackout.
To get waxed.
It was a blackout, Tyler. People in the area were talking about the game. Like, I went somewhere Friday and I had the radio on in the car and I was driving, and people were like, "Yeah, make sure you head out. If you can, head out to College Park in Maryland. Big game against Penn State. Let's try to get people out there." The stadium was packed. It was a blackout. They wore black uniforms. And they were wearing black, and it was nighttime, so I guess they camouflaged into the darkness and didn't show up to play.
Just disappeared.
Just disappeared.
It worked too well.
Yeah.
The blackout worked too well.
All the black shirts created a black hole
maybe all their football IQ just blacked out and had a little too much to drink and just blacked out.
They all went tailgating and boom, blacked out. They're like us this next Saturday.
Oh, yes.
Hey-o. All right, we're going to talk about that later.
Foreshadow.
So, with that being said, there is literally nothing to talk about in this game. This Penn State team isn't that good. Maryland just really took a ginormous dump on the field.
And then said, "Thank you, sir. May I have
another?" Oh, man. That game ended 59-0. Sergio got the point on that one. Very happy. The next game in the Friday night doubleheader, neither of us saw this coming, to be honest. We knew that Arizona State had a good defense. But we thought that this Cal team was well coached and had really good skill position players that would get into space and get points on the board. And it turns out that Cal ended up losing 24-17 to Arizona State, giving neither of us a point. But more importantly, the Cal quarterback goes down.
Yeah, which is why I'm gonna. We shouldn't do this. We shouldn't make excuses and cop outs. But this is our own podcast, so we can do whatever we want.
We make the rules.
We make the rules. I personally, we don't get any points for this, obviously. Personally, I feel okay with losing this one, with not getting this one wrong, because Chase Garbers is very clearly very important to that football team.
Yes.
He's no crazy NFL type quarterback, but he is important to that football team. And I believe it was tied when he went out with an injury. Mm-hmm. And Devon Monster, who came in, could not do anything.
He reminds me of Joshua Dobbs in the sense of not a great NFL quarterback, but very integral to the success of that team.
Oh, Chase Garbers?
Yes.
Yeah, he's very much like that. I think he does fit the very Josh Dobbs role where, like, it's just what he is for that team in that moment is so important because it's built around him. And
a leader.
He's out. I mean, credit to Arizona State for going out and winning the game against really good defense. But,
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, neither of us get the point on that one. Let's move forward. A game that was closer than we anticipated. Virginia on the road in South Bend taking on Notre Dame, bouncing back after the Georgia game. Both of us got the point on this one. We both took Notre Dame over Virginia. 35-20 was the final score. But this game didn't really open up until midway through the third quarter.
Yeah. I mean, Virginia was leading 17-14 at half.
Yeah, and I texted you after the first drive when Virginia scored. I literally texted you and I said, is Virginia good? With a bunch of question marks. Because the way that they moved the ball on that drive, I was like, wow, you don't just go into South Bend taking on a top 10 Notre Dame football team that... Granted, there's debate whether people just think Notre Dame is good or not, but...
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, listen, my feelings aside, but like people have this idea. And to go into such a historic place, take the ball first, and score on the opening drive, that's a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, you're very right. I think that's... I mean, Virginia is a good team, and if you look at their schedule, they're going to be favored in a lot of the games coming up.
So here's my question about this then. Can we say that Virginia is the second best team in the ACC?
I would say so. Actually, no. Actually, you know what? No. Because the second best team in the ACC is the undefeated Wake Forest Demon Deacons.
That's true, which we'll get to in a bit.
We will get to soon.
I'm so sorry for disrespecting. I am falling victim to the trap.
But for what Virginia has going for it is that I think it's very clearly the best team in its own division.
Got it.
Because it is in the Coastal, it is not in the Atlantic with Wake Forest and Clemson. Mm-hmm. So I think Virginia is the clear favorite moving forward to win that division.
Okay. So then that means, Tyler with a ESPN update. So then that means...
Sorry.
Nah, you're good, bud. It's our podcast. We make the rules.
ESPN's been texting us all day. They want us to come on, and we're playing hardball.
I know we're negotiating the bag. It's a whole mess. We won't bore you with.
They don't want to drop it. They want to lightly set it down. But we're like, no, you got to drop it.
They want to sprinkle it, and we're just like, really, dude. All right. Anyway, so yes, we probably are going to anticipate Clemson, Virginia in the championship game. So we both got the point on that one, picking Notre Dame. Next up, a game that I am so proud of picking. We got Kansas State going into Stillwater to play Oklahoma State and the Mullet. And Oklahoma State ends up winning the game 26-13. I get the point. Tyler does not get the point. We did split on that one. Tyler, how do you feel?
I'm mad at Mike Gundy for only revealing afterwards that he's a Donkey Kong guy.
Oof.
Because that would have changed my vote, but I in all honesty, Oklahoma State took care of business.
Yeah, they played
really well. This was
a
took care of business game. They only won by 13 points. Felt like they won by more. This was not competitive.
Weirdly, a low-scoring Big 12 game, but like you said, wasn't competitive. The score is deceptive of.
The Oklahoma State just they did everything they wanted to.
Yeah, they controlled the
time
of possession.
They didn't need to score a million points because they. And, like, credit to Oklahoma State's defense. They held Kansas State down to 13 points.
Right.
Kansas State, I still think you're a good team. Be better, please.
Yeah.
Still adjusting. And you forget that Chris Clemens in his first season in the Big 12 and Mike Gundy's in his 1 millionth season in the Big 12.
100%. So this is...
Oklahoma State is still a good team.
I think this is the game that ended up giving me that 1 point. I lucked out that you decided to take Maryland, but it kind of was negated by the fact that you picked Ohio State, I picked Nebraska, and I would just like to apologize to my parents, my family, my friends, anyone I've ever interacted with. I apologize for having to say that you are associated with me in any type of way, because I've taken multiple showers since Saturday night, and I still can't get the stain of picking Nebraska off of my body.
Imagine picking anybody to beat the Death Star that is Ohio State.
Listen, I thought I had Luke. I thought I had a savior in Luke Skywalker.
Not yet.
Not yet. We got to find our Luke. I really thought Nebraska had a chance.
His name might be Tua Tagovailoa.
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence is clearly, I think, the Chewbacca of this group. Because he's the tallest and he's got the most hair.
So if he's Chewbacca, does that make Dabo Sweeney Han Solo?
I think I have to say yes because of just who Dabo Sweeney is.
And he's got the personality, man.
I think Jalen Hurts is because he's so intense. Is Leia?
Yeah.
Actually, no. He's Obi-Wan Kenobi because he's so wise.
But does that mean that then does that mean that we don't get to see him again? Because I want him to have some.
It's his last year.
But I want him to have some success in the NFL.
I agree, but that's called dying with the Force and then moving on as a Force.
You're right.
We've had enough we've had a lot of Star Wars conversations. The point is, Ohio State it could have been worse. They won 48-7 over Nebraska. It could have been so much worse.
I don't know what Nebraska was playing, but it wasn't college football.
No, I tweeted this during the game, and this was in the first quarter. I'm like, Nebraska, can you just run the triple option again? Because if you're gonna lose, can you at least be something interesting?
Let's have be like the Titanic. Go down with the musicians playing. Don't just quit. Just do something. I felt like it was the meme, the old just point with a stick, do something.
Point with a stick, do something. Come on, do something. I love. Also, I heard about this. So Nebraska has this tradition where the first time the team scores in the game, everybody releases their red balloons. It's like a Nebraska tradition.
Oh, that's
They
cool.
waited until the third quarter.
That's embarrassing. Oh man. Yeah. All right, so Tyler clearly got the point on that one. In our 5 wide, Sergio received 1, 2, 3 points. Tyler received 2 points. And now we move on to the negating. It seems like it's a weekly thing, man. We negate our 2-point conversions because we're just so darn good at picking these games.
Yeah, we're elite. I would say we're elite.
Unlike North Carolina, we have multiple 2-point play options.
Oh, boom.
Boom.
Yes, there it is.
Thank you.
No one can see our 2-point plays coming.
Thank you, baby. Thank you. Tyler, your 2-point conversion was Wake Forest over Boston College. You ended up getting it right, 27-24. Talk to us about the end of this football game because you texted me when this happened.
My undefeated Wake Forest team, Deacons, never a doubt.
Never a doubt.
Never a doubt. That's all. That's all I can say. It's just Wake Forest is really good.
I had to watch a game. I haven't seen a game yet.
I will be honest. I didn't see as much of this game as I wanted to. I was at a bar and with a bunch of friends. And first of all, the college football gods, you scheduled every good game in the 2:30, 3:30 slot. Every single good game was on then, and then the nooners and then the night games were mostly non-competitive.
Right.
And all the interesting games were all at the same time. So this game and every other competitive game was on in the middle of the day. And I didn't get to watch as much of this. There was only on one screen, and the screen was halfway behind me. Uh-huh. But Wake Forest offense is just really good. It's very efficient. Boston College has some defensive things they got to figure out. Boston College, I think, is still a solid ACC team, but they're still the same 7-5 team that they always are.
Right.
Anthony Brown is an okay quarterback, but Jamie Newman is just the perfect fit for what Dave Clawson wants to do.
Nice.
And Sage Surratt is a great wide receiver, and their offensive scheme, I think it's one of those things where Dave Clawson has been at Wake Forest so long that every single player there has completely bought in to the system.
I love that.
He's gotten to the point, very few coaches, I think, in today's college football get to this point. They've gotten to the point where they're at a place where, it's clockwork. Mm-hmm. People come in, they know exactly what it's going to be. They're not trying to change culture. They're not trying to fix things.
He recruits those type of players.
Yes. And what's good is that, one of the things that Wake Forest had issue is that there's been no season. Dave Clawson has said this. There's been no season at Wake Forest where they didn't have a quarterback go down with injury at some point. Mm-hmm. Maybe not for the whole season, but at some point they needed to rely on 2 quarterbacks. And Jamie Newman's great. They also have a really good sophomore quarterback in Sam Hartman. Mm-hmm. So I think that this team, I'm not saying they're going 11-1 with a loss to Clemson, and they're making the Peach Bowl or whatever. But I do think this team can have a really special season by Wake Forest standards. They're already 5-0.
I was gonna say,
that's huge for Wake Forest.
That's a big deal, and I would love to see them in one of these bigger bowl games. Maybe not the New Year's 6 games. Maybe they don't get to that point, but I'd like to see them in a January bowl game. I don't know if Wake Forest has ever been to a January bowl game. That's a big.
Not in my memory.
I'm gonna make an effort to watch some more Wake Forest games, man. I'm gonna make the effort. let's move on to
They're
mine.
good.
Congratulations on your 2-point. I do want to give them a big shot. Let's move over to America's Nightcap, our Rainbow Warriors from Hawaii, who demolished Nevada
Pantsed
on the
them.
road, 54-3.
I really did think this game would be competitive.
I did too. I thought it would be a
and
close
that Hawaii
game.
would win. But holy crap.
They blew it out the water, my man.
Yeah, from the get-go, too. Like, they just... Hawaii's so good.
I know. And we just keep saying it, but listen, Cole
No one listens to
Cole
us.
McDonald is just letting that thing fly. Old McDonald had a farm, and it's touchdown, 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 boy. Like, woof! He is slinging that thing. They're having fun out there on the islands. They're living with no worries, too. Like, I really hope Hawaii gets to, they get to a big bowl. Not just the Hawaii Bowl, which they play in mostly, but, like, come and travel. Like, come over here, man. Like, we want to see you.
East Coast.
I love it. America's Nightcap, definitely our favorite late-night team. I received 2 points on that one. Total to date, Tyler is in his Michael Jordan number 23, and I have 20 points.
Jordan
Week. Next week, I'm going to try to pick up some more ground. Until then, Tyler, we have hit the 40-minute mark. We are ahead of schedule, my friend. Shouts to us.
Shout out to us. Big up to us.
Let's go ahead and try to keep it moving. Let's go to the tweets that we have shared this week. Tyler, I would love it if you would share with me the favorite tweet I sent you.
Because we haven't talked about it yet. This is the tweet. You sent me a tweet from Savannah Collins, who is actually a University of Florida alum that I know. She's a very good Southern reporter.
I just followed her on Twitter. I was like,
good.
I'm making an effort to follow J School, like recent J School alums, because like if I really want to do this transition from like theater degree, acting,
gotta be part of the family,
right? Grad school somewhere else. Obviously, I can't go to grad school at UF because they don't have the exact thing that I need after getting a non-journalism degree. If I want to do this thing seriously, like, hey, listen, I'm gonna follow you guys on Twitter. I'm gonna make these connections. Let's do it, baby. Let's do it. Let's go all in.
So Savannah Collins tweeted in response to something, a tweet by Gators Uniform Tracker, which is breaking. Gators unveil throwback uniforms with new white helmets for homecoming versus Auburn. Florida is wearing the throwbacks from the Steve Spurrier era with the white helmets with the block F and the circle, the orange circle around it, and they've got the old retro throwback jerseys. They look clean. And Savannah quotes it she tweets with a quote that says, "The juice is temporary. Anyone can obtain the juice, but the sauce is forever."
Is forever.
These uniforms look clean.
Tyler, you know what I'll be wearing on Saturday?
Well, you'll be wearing a throwback jersey, won't you?
I'll be wearing not just any throwback jersey, but the new throwback jersey.
Ugh.
I cop, baby. The drip don't sleep.
Drip
don't sleep. Now, okay, so I got it a large to be safe. If it's too big, I'm going to be honest, and I won't wear it on Saturday. I will return it and try to get a medium because I do want it to fit properly.
Hey, as great it would be for you to wear the throwback in the game that we're in the throwbacks, don't waste the jersey purchase.
Correct, exactly. So I'm going to try it on. It gets here tomorrow. Gets here tomorrow.
It's better to have a bigger jersey than a smaller one. So
a bigger jersey than a smaller one?
Yeah, it's better to have a jersey that's too big than a jersey that's
agreed
too small. Like there is an aesthetic for jerseys that are unnaturally big.
Yeah, so like I'm gonna try it out. If I like it, then I'll just hold on to it. If not, then I will return it and I'll just like buy a Gator shirt when I get there because I did want to get a new Gator shirt anyway. So
yeah.
in that sense.
I mean, I wasn't gonna pick this tweet, but we hadn't talked about the uniforms yet, and I really wanted to talk about that. So.
I love it. I'm so excited. And the best part is that we get black shoes that have the Jordan brand, just like they were in the 60s.
That Jordan logo, baby.
The pants, to me, are phenomenal. It's that color, it's that tone of blue that I'm just like,
it just looks so pretty.
It looks beautiful. And hey, like we said, the similarities between championship seasons, Kyle Trask wears number 11. You know who wore number 11?
Steven Spurrier.
Steven Spurrier. The greatest, the most influential, the most important person in Florida football history, Steven Spurrier.
There is no doubt that he is the most influential person in football history.
No, there's no debate.
The last time the Florida Gators won these throwback kind of jerseys?
When, my friend?
2006.
Oh, really?
Yes, against Alabama. Alabama came to the Swamp and they wore these jerseys.
So you mean to tell me that opposing teams from the state of Alabama within the SEC West, when the Gators wear throwback jerseys like this, they're 1-0?
Well, the team from Alabama is 0-1.
That's what I'm saying. The Gators are 0-1 against teams from the state of Alabama in this situation.
Yes.
So
the Gators win with these things on.
It's fate.
So Gators by a million. But we'll get to more of that later.
We'll
What's
get
the
to more of
tweet
that
that you shared with me?
So this is my favorite.
That I shared with you.
I actually LOL'd. Like, I actually laughed out loud. This is a tweet by Ross Dellinger. It is a screenshot of a paragraph, and it is hashtag SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey's statement to Sports Illustrated on California's bill signing. And I quote,
It's a long one.
"There is meaningful concern related to the inherent consequences that will inevitably arise when individual states unilaterally after a set of rules that currently apply to student athletes and universities throughout the country. In the Southeastern Conference, we are proud of the support we currently provide to student athletes and believe there is the need to engage in a thoughtful discourse that considers the benefits of the current structure of intercollegiate athletics, as well as the interest of all present-day student athletes and the national balance of intercollegiate athletic competition. We must also fully address the underlying potential for abuse by external influences and strive for a structure that appropriately ties financial support of student athletes to their educational pursuits." Close quote. This, my friend, is grade A legal jargon.
That was the most beautiful way I've ever heard of saying absolutely nothing.
The first tweet.
There was not a single thing I learned from that.
Tyler, the first response is a tweet by Adam Rittenberg, who's a senior writer for ESPN in college football, and he tweets, "Lawyers upon seeing this," and it's the Borat gif of "great success."
It's
oh my god!
It's incredible because like that was basically a whole way of saying like, yeah, it happened, so we'll watch it.
Yeah.
Because the SEC has to say something,
but what are they going to say?
I mean, they don't really have to say anything, but they're like, we should put something out. And everybody's like, what should we say? And they're like, we actually don't have opinion about this at all.
You know what I feel like? You know what I feel like they did? I feel like they spent 3 hours trying to craft up this statement, and it was literally typing in, we literally have no opinion yet, into like a thesaurus like engine, and it popped out that. And you just click like the legal version of it, and then boom, you just insert like your specific things, like like normal, intercollegiate athletics, NCAA, California bill. You know what I mean? Like they just like
the thesaurus was used to its full extent here.
Oh yes.
I'm honestly surprised the SC hasn't come out and been like, use this as a promotional thing. Like, it just means more here in the Southeastern Conference. We don't have to have our players make money off their image and likeness to win championships.
You're joking, but
California Bill ain't played nobody.
California, that's a fact, and they won't play nobody till 2023.
It's 2023.
What a weak schedule up until then. Go out of conference, jeez. No, but seriously, like, we're joking about that, but don't put it past the SEC to actually. They'll do it.
100%.
You heard it here first. Drop the bag. Speaking of dropping bags, Tyler, if there was people that wanted to drop a bag for a certain podcast, where would they send that email to?
The electronic mail could be typed up and clicked send to the address of sidelinejudgment@gmail.com, which let me spell that out for you just so all my listeners back at home get it right. SIDELINEJUDGEMENT swirly at symbol GMAIL.com.
Did you have to spell out gmail.com?
What if they think the G has a dash in between the Gmail?
I forgot. We actually can't use the word G in that sense because Gardner Minshew's actually trademarked the letter G, and we actually can't. So. And
because of his last name, I think he's actually also trademarked the letter M.
Yeah,
so
actually, I heard that he's actually trademarked the 2 Roman numerals, like Roman numeral 2, because he's the second. He's also trademarked like the position of the quarterback. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. But we're not talking about Gardner Minshew yet. We're talking about the main attraction. Tyler, we're at 50 minutes on the dot. I'm just trying to give you a time check because we have to relatively keep it moving. But this is the meat and potatoes, my friend. Auburn Tigers or Eagles, pick a mascot, Auburn, are coming to the Swamp to play the Florida Gators, 3:30 p.m. on CBS. We got the CBS game of the week. It's a big one. Number 7 Auburn, number 9 Florida. It's a top 10 matchup. It is unbiasedly, like, I know that we're Gators and, we're not biased, but go Gators. But this is the best game of the weekend.
It's the only top 10 matchup. It's I think our first, except for LSU Texas. LSU Texas is probably the first one, but this is like the next like big matchup that we've had. We haven't had quite a big game up until this point.
Right. I think the next one after this will be the Red River rivalry next week, which will be Oklahoma Texas. But and I think this will also happen in Dallas for the Red River rivalry. College Game Day is in Gainesville for the first time since 2012, my friend.
And we're going to be there. Coincidence?
I think not.
Yeah. I'm very excited for this game for, obvious reasons. But this is basically a put up or shut up game for Florida in a way. Both teams are 5-0, which is awesome. It's really cool to see. Auburn's ranked number 7. Florida's ranked number 10. They fell down from number 9 this past week.
We're ranked 10. Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot because when your defense shuts out a football team and you win 38-0, people have to move you down a spot. I forgot about that. Them's the rules, but we just forgot.
Them's the rules. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, sir. I don't like to get into this everybody doubts us thing, but
everybody doubts us.
Basically, most people are writing off Florida as losing here.
Right.
Auburn started as a 3-point favorite when the lines opened. I'm expecting that to get bet up. Because I've seen many national people just say that Auburn's going to win this game.
Yeah,
and we'll talk more about it as we feel it. But I think Florida has a real chance in this game. The biggest, we'll kind of skip around, but I think this transcends offense and defense and special teams in a way. But I think the environment of the Swamp is going to be the biggest factor in Florida playing in this game. And it has to be affected early because the reality is in a game that takes, because CBS has all the commercials, it's going to take 4 hours. Bo Nix probably is not going to be as rattled in the fourth quarter as he could be in the first. So the key to this game for Florida is using the home field advantage because Bo Nix has played on the road at Kyle Field at Texas A&M. Kyle Field is not the same environment as the Swamp.
No, and here's the thing. People are going to say that, yeah, but there's over 100,000 people at Kyle Field, and they're loud and stuff, whatever. Here's the main difference. And it's not even in terms of the fans. The architecture of Florida Field, the way the Swamp is designed, it is literally built on top of each other in a way so that the noise is at its loudest on the field. Granted, yeah,
it funnels the sound down.
Exactly. Isn't every stadium like that? Technically, yes, but there's a lot of stadiums that look beautiful, like Jordan-Hare. When you look at Jordan-Hare Stadium, it looks beautiful. It's symmetrical. It's swirled around, and everything. You can take a blimp from overhead, and it looks pretty. You look at the Swamp from overhead; it's ugly as hell. One side is longer than the other. There's 3 levels that are shot in.
Vertically built stadium.
Exactly. So when you compress all of that noise, and you have 90,000 screaming fans, and you have how many student section tickets are there? Like 30.
A lot.
There's let's just say that there's 30,000 student tickets, which they will all be there at kickoff. It's a 3:30 game, and it is against and it is the biggest game of the season to date. For sure, the biggest home game, with the exception of FSU. So I don't want to hear it from the old heads saying, "Oh, the students aren't there." I can't curse on our podcast, so we won't. So I won't. But I'm just saying we'll be there. Relax. You need to calm down. We will be there.
And I think
go ahead. Rant over. But the way that it's designed, all the sound will be channeled in there. Bo Nix has never played in that kind of environment. I don't care where you went to high school. I don't care that you went on the road to Kyle Field and won, which is an impressive feat. I will say that.
But he actually didn't even play that well in that game.
Their defense was the ones that kind of shut it down.
Yeah. I think that schematically, there is also a schematic advantage to that sound. Is that Auburn in its big win against Texas A&M, And it's winning against Mississippi State, where it absolutely demolished them this last week, and is a large part of the reason that people are really taking Auburn seriously.
And they're giving them credit, for that Oregon win when Oregon may or may not be as good. And like we said this the week after the first episode after that game. Auburn didn't win that football game. Oregon lost that football game.
Yeah,
but alas,
I think that for one, this is the best defense the Bo Nix will face
the whole year.
It's going to be the most difficult because this defense really comes after the quarterback, and I think that on top of that, also Auburn in the games against Mississippi State and the games against Texas A&M started off really fast. They scored, I believe, in Texas A&M. They scored on their first 2 drives, I believe, and then I know they scored in their first one, and they scored on their first 2 or 3 drives. And then they scored a little bit before the end of the first half, and they're up 21-0. And then they scored again just to get 28 points. But they were quickly up ahead, and they just leaned on their defense. And against Mississippi State, they were up 21-0 5 minutes into the game. Part of that due to turnovers, and part of that being their running game really good against the Mississippi State defense that without Willie Gay is just not the same. And they're at home. So I think the key for Florida above anything else is to keep Auburn down. Because I don't think Bo Nix was good against Mississippi State. He hasn't been as good, I think. I don't think he will be as good as you and Auburn will be as good if they have to adjust. So far, their game plans for most of their games, not the Oregon game, their game plans have been good. So the things that they script out, the fast starts, those are good. But I think that if you can overcome that as a football team for Florida, then you got a really good shot to win. And I don't think that a fast start by Auburn is necessarily doomed to this Florida team, because we've seen this Florida team does not quit.
No.
They hold, and to borrow a Dan Mullen phrase, Florida holds the rope. Yep. They strain. And Dan Mullen uses this all the time.
I just got goosebumps, Tyler. I just got goosebumps.
He's like, you're in a tug of war, and you're holding the rope, and you have to strain to keep holding the rope. And in the fourth quarter against Miami and against Kentucky, both away from home, especially Kentucky, where they lost their starting quarterback and they're down on the road, they don't let go of the rope. This team, in a lot of ways, yes, Florida, rightfully so, is dogged for not outbeating lesser talented opponents in those situations. But there is a positive in that. This Florida team knows how to win in tough situations, from what I've seen. So Florida, even a fast start by Auburn, is not necessarily a death sentence for Florida, because Florida's strength on offense is the passing attack. I think that, and Auburn's strength on defense is their D-line, mostly so in a run stuffing capacity. I do think that they are a good pass rushing team, but their secondary is attackable. I think that Florida's defense is the best one Auburn will face, so that's going to give Auburn problems. I think that Florida's offense, Dan Mullen's going to have something cooked up. I don't think that Dan Mullen also is hiding the playbook necessarily, but there's a thing you got to understand also about offensive play callers playbooks, and this also goes for Dan Mullen, is that they're not just sheets in a binder. It's like an ever expanding phone book. Okay. From what I've read and from what I understand is that most offensive coordinators, and I would expect this of Dan Mullen because he's a genius, they kind of know pretty much every kind of offensive concept you can use. We didn't really see those pitch plays or those trick plays against LSU until the LSU game. They're going to have, I'm not saying that he's hiding something, but Dan Mullen will probably have found something in Auburn's defense that he can exploit that they will come up with in practice this week, and they'll practice it. And maybe that'll be a help, maybe it won't. But I do think that this game also, offensively, it's going to be a similar game plan to the Mississippi State game last year, where the defensive line was so good that you just try to avoid it at all costs. My biggest concern offensively, well, one, is the run game. It's going to be tough. But two, and I can kind of ask you about how you feel about this, Kyle Trask has been nothing short of excellent since he took over. However, he has one weakness that I know very clearly, and he has very little game time. So I don't want to take too much into this, but there's one weakness that I can very clearly say he has. He does not have very good pocket awareness.
He does not,
and a lot of that I think comes with reps. Some of it's natural, but he hasn't played in real football in years. but he will hold on to the ball. He does not do the Brady like slide in and out, like understand them.
Excuse me, the Gardner Minshew.
The Gardner Minshew slide in and out, and understanding where space is, where space isn't, manipulating the pocket, extending time. He can like roll out and stuff if he wants, but he likes to sit in the pocket, but he does not have that pocket awareness just yet. That is something that if Florida is trying to pass a long play, you do a long pass play, they need to be running off play action, and he needs to make a decision, because I don't think Kyle Trask against this D-line can wait all day,
right,
and avoid getting sacked and possibly fumbling. Mm-hmm. That's one thing that Florida is going to have to avoid. They've been very successful in avoiding that for the most part. But
so what did you want my opinion on, Tyler?
Well, what do you feel about that?
About the pocket awareness?
Yeah.
I'm the same way as you. That's my one big concern. I was watching different things today. There was one thing going around on Twitter during the Towson game talking about how Kyle Trask made a bad read, and and he should have had, if it was an RPO, he should have had the pass out on the outside to Copeland, who was out there. And all that, none of that stuff kind of bothers me, because I truly believe that he's intelligent enough and he knows when to make those right decisions. The pocket awareness does give me some problems, especially going up against such a really, 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 really good front line like Auburn's has. Like, I won't lie, this is going to be the best defensive line that we will face to the year up until this point, and it's a testament, right? We're lucky enough that this offensive line is able to do really well in pass protection. So he's going to be able to get that protection that he gets when he needs to throw. The question is, can he throw it away quickly enough? Can he make the check down to P. Ryan or to Pierce or to Malik Davis in time to just pick up 3-4 yards and keep the drive moving? You know what I mean? Those kind of questions are what bother me. And I don't really have an answer for you, except for we're going to have to wait and see. You know, I think the best thing that could happen for us to start this game is that we win the toss, we defer. Bo Nix has to go out there, first drive of the game. The Swamp, we are ready. We are making noise. You and I are contributing. We are making all the noise in the world that we can. They go 3 and out, or they get 1 first down, and then there's a big hit or a turnover. Something big on the defensive side happens, and Trask comes in, calm, cool, collective, gets down the field, and gets us some points on the board. That is the ideal scenario of what happens. If that happens, I will be very much calm for the rest of the game. I mean, as calm as I can be, because I'm be at the game.
But you'll feel good about our chances.
I'll feel much better about our chances, yes. And granted, we'll both have a little bit of liquid courage in us by the time kickoff goes off, so we'll be a little bit more relaxed to begin with, but I truly feel that that'll be the concern. Now, yes, pocket awareness is a problem, but I still am very worried about this run game. And it's not the running backs, it's the offensive line. Can we drive against the most difficult defensive line that we can? Or does Mullen look at this, say, granted, I want to see what he says at halftime at that Towson game tomorrow night on HBO at 10 o'clock on HBO. But my big thing is, does Mullen scheme to not put our offensive line in that position? You know, these first 5 games we have been trying to do and run this system, and clearly it's not working. And I know he said after the game in the press conference, if these players can't do this, we need to find people who can, which clearly tells me that he's going to be prioritizing offensive linemen in recruiting. But at the same time, or maybe in grad transfer roles, but at the same time, for this immediate game that we have coming up, and for this stretch that we have of 4 or 5 games that we need to win, that are very tough, does he scheme to give us, to make it easier? Does he do some more shotgun delayed handoffs to try to open up some space? Does he check down into the flat more often? Does he run screenplays to kind of spread the defense out to then make it easier on that offensive line to block further downfield after receiver has the ball? You know what I mean? That's where I want to see what happens. What is Mullen's approach to these play calling, and how does he address this clear weakness that we have on the line? I fully expect Auburn's defense to do what our defense is going to do at the beginning, to send 7, to send maybe 8 at the beginning, show some pressure, try to get in the front of the line, trying to get to the quarterback, trying to intimidate this offensive line, and set the tone. This game will be won in the trenches, regardless of which side of the ball. We need to make sure that we, on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, are the ones who win that trenches battle.
Yeah, and Florida gets Jabari to get back from injury,
which is
in this
phenomenal.
Game. And C.J. Henderson in the back end back from injury, which is good because C.J. Henderson, I think, is the only one truly that has the speed to match Auburn's Anthony Schwartz.
Agreed. I love Marco, but he's not as fast as C.J.
Yeah, C.J. is more the natural athlete. With both of them in the back there, and I mean, Bo Nix, I think, has a bright future ahead of him, but I don't know if, and his offense isn't even designed at a base level for him to pass all over the place. Right. It is a run-first Auburn offense. Mm-hmm. He is perfectly designed to do that. And the quarterback run is something that I'm going to be watching because that's something that Florida historically struggles with. Mm-hmm. But I do think that, Anthony Schwartz is a good player, a very fast player. But honestly,
let's be real. He's a great player. He may not be elite, but he's a great football player.
The thing that I see every time I watch him is that the way that Auburn uses him is as a gadget player. Mm-hmm. I'm not worried about him as a route runner. And I could be completely wrong about that. I don't watch enough Auburn to be an expert. Mm-hmm. But most of the time he's used on end rounds and he's used on gadget players.
So would you compare him to an 06 Percy an 07 Percy Harvin, an 08 Percy Harvin, a 2019, 2018?
I'm not going anywhere near those areas.
Let's go more so Tony, Kadarius Toney.
He's like Kadarius Toney in the way that you're worried about him mostly as like an offense creator, his roles. But I mean, it's not about technique when defending him. I don't think as much.
Okay, and here's my last.
He does not scare me the way that like any of the LSU receivers scare me.
Right.
Or the Alabama receivers would scare me.
So then here's my question, and then we got to move on because we do have to get to 5 wide and we're running out of time. If you remove Kadarius Toney like we have for the past few weeks, our offense doesn't really change. We have the players to replace, and that is a position that we can kind of, you never want to see someone hurt, but we can afford to have loss of depth. Now, if you take Anthony Schwartz out of the Auburn offense, is it a bigger problem?
I would say so.
Okay.
Because I think that schematically, from what I heard about, Cole Kubelik talked about this, where he believed that the jet sweep as we knew it was dead in the Auburn offense. That's clearly not been the case. Mm-hmm. But I think that's a fact of Anthony Schwartz is so darn fast, so darn athletic, and he's very good. And he's like, why would you not run a jet sweep with him?
Yeah, agreed.
Like that's just being stupid. But I don't think jet sweeps are a fundamental part of the Auburn offense. I think they do them because Anthony Schwartz is great at them. Mm-hmm. So I think you take Anthony Schwartz out, that is an aspect of their offense that won't be there. Florida runs the same plays with Josh Hammond and Jacob Copeland that they would with Kadarius Toney.
All right, exactly.
Maybe not the Wildcat stuff as much, but we haven't actually really seen a lot of Wildcat stuff.
Well, we have Emory Jones to run that, not out of a Wildcat position, but just out of the normal offense.
Yeah. So, I mean, Josh Hammond and Jacob Copeland multiple times have done the same type of plays. So I'm not really, schematically, it doesn't really change anything. Mm-hmm. We've talked a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot. I mean, and I do think that Auburn is a good team. Auburn could very well win this game.
Listen, we've talked enough, and you and I are going to talk on Friday night with a little more liquid courage in us. We're going to talk more in person. Tyler, give us and take our fandom out of it. What do you think's going to happen here? Let's be journalists for a second. What do you think's going to happen?
It's very hard to take your fandom out of this, but as an objective person, I honestly do believe that Florida is going to win this game.
I agree. I just also can see, and I will not be surprised if Auburn wins the football game.
I mean, I agree completely, but like I just still am not bought into Auburn the way that everybody seemed to buy into Auburn because I don't think Mississippi State is that good. My opinion of Texas A&M is beginning to go downhill. Mm-hmm. They beat Oregon, shouldn't have, but they did.
Well, I still refuse to. Oregon beat themselves. That's how I feel.
Mm-hmm. And I do. I'm not saying that Florida's I don't know if Florida's a better team than Oregon. We still have to see the rest of the season. There's just so much that you have to compare. But I do believe that Florida has a better defense than Oregon.
Agreed.
And schematically, Florida's offense is harder to defend. Oregon, I would say, has a better quarterback. Like Oregon has a top draft prospect. But I think that with the playmakers on Florida's offense are harder to defend. The position that Dan Mullen puts them in is harder to defend. I think Auburn is getting better, but I think Florida is getting better. Ever since Cal Trask, and granted this is against Tennessee, Kentucky in the fourth quarter, and Towson, but ever since Cal Trask has taken over Felipe Franks, Florida has outscored opponents 70-3. That's a lot.
The defense has stepped up.
I don't think this offense is not bad. Yeah, they're having troubles running the ball. I think that'll get fixed. I think Mullen's going to have something like a couple pitch plays that we haven't run lately that don't put your offensive line at an issue. They're more about space.
That's my thing, where I'm excited to see how Mullen addresses our own weakness by scheming out of it.
I do think that Florida is going to win this game. The way I think it will go down is I think that the turnovers will get to the atmosphere is going to get to Bo Nix. We're going to get 1 or 2 turnovers early on, and Florida might not score on all of them, but I think they will score score off of a turnover either by like a pick six or a fumble recovery or from a touchdown drive. I think that Florida gets momentum going into the game.
Agreed.
And if for nothing else, I just feel very confident in Florida's ability to not back down.
Stop! Don't say that.
Florida will not back down.
All right, I'm getting emotional.
You said
that on purpose. You said that on purpose, didn't you?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, stop it.
Gators won't back down. I say that as a fan, but I also say that objectively about this team. Nothing that I have seen of this team in these last 5 games has shown me that they have quit in them.
Tyler,
they're not perfect. This is not a perfect football team. But this team fights.
Listen, man, we got about 10 minutes to get through our 5 wides and our 2 points and our moment of the week. You've said it enough for the both of us. I completely agree with you. We can win this football game. And you know what? There's something about the energy around this game. 3:30. Game day's here. Game day is here. We mean
college game day.
Game day's here, man. Like, we're both going home. To me, it just feels like the stars are aligned. I think, and whatever religion you believe in, take this with a grain of salt if you want to. But God loves us, I think, and I think I do. I think so. At least you and I. Things are all setting up to be right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right,
I hope so.
Let's hope this happens.
We could easily be wrong.
We could, man. We could be wrong.
Never forget that Steve Spurrier had his Heisman game performance where he kicked the game-winning field goal against Auburn in the throwback in the jerseys that we're doing throwback for.
Well, that was the inspiration.
Wearing number 11.
That was the inspiration for that.
Yeah, we're winning.
All right, man. Let's move forward. We've talked ad nauseum about this game, and rightfully so. Let's go ahead and move forward. Let's just do our 5 wide really quickly. We don't have to go too in depth. We've talked a lot.
This is not the greatest slate of games this week.
No, man.
Our game is great, but not the greatest slate.
Well, our game is the best game, like we talked about. 2 top 10 teams, big SEC implications, and really like a platform for is Florida back. If we win this football game, I think we can consider ourselves to be back, and then we'll see how it goes next week against LSU. Let's move forward. Let's talk 5 wide. A team that is in desperate need of some rebound juice. The UCF Knights going on the road to play Cincinnati Friday night, 8:00 on ESPN. Tyler, I'll be driving when this game starts, but I hope to, when I am pre-gaming with the homies, to be having this game on the TV just to kind of keep an eye on it. You know what I mean? Tyler, who do you have, UCF or Cincinnati?
So in the preseason, I picked Cincinnati to win the American.
Uh-huh.
It's still possible. They play in a different division.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with UCF.
Good, okay.
Because I think that UCF already lost that game to Pitt. Uh-huh. So looking ahead and sleepwalking, I don't see being an issue for this team. Mm-hmm. Cincinnati is a good football team, but I think that UCF, now that they have a loss, they know that at this point, even to make the New Year's Six Bowl, they've got to be at their best because they've got other one-loss Group of 5 teams and other undefeated Group of 5 teams.
They have to hope. They're the second highest ranked Group of 5 team. They have to hope Boise State loses.
Yeah,
that's
and they got to hope that.
And they have to win out.
They got to hope that Hawaii loses too.
Yeah,
they're not squarely in the driver's seat anymore. So UCF's going to win this game.
Agreed. I think that they'll bounce back. Dylan Gabriel will have a monster game. It'll be his first real big challenge within the conference, and I think he'll show up on the road for that. Moving forward, that's our only Friday game that we're kind of promoting. So you got a little little game that you can watch. We'll talk about this game on Friday night by the time it's over, we'll know what happens, Tyler.
Mm.
Iowa on the road taking on Michigan Saturday at 12 o'clock. Now, the schedule didn't say what channel it was on. I'm assuming it's Fox because Fox has the big noon slate, and this is the big Big Ten game. So I'm going to go with Fox tentatively. Hopefully that it gets confirmed before Saturday. Tyler, I pick next, right? I pick first this time?
Yes.
I'm going to go with the Iowa Hawkeyes because I do not trust Michigan.
I feel bad that I'm gonna pick the same thing as you, but the I think the Iowa Hawkeyes are gonna win because
this is not a week for us to be going against each other to try to pick other teams. Like, we have enough stress on our hands with this Florida game. Like, honestly, I wouldn't be mad if we had the same 5 for 5 wide, so that way in the swamp we could keep track of the same games.
Yes. I think that Iowa's gonna win. Iowa's not flashy; they never have been, but they're good. They're solid.
I'm with you. For me, it's
and
more.
I also just don't trust Michigan right now.
Yeah, that's it, man. If you almost lose to Navy at home and then you get blown out by Army. Sorry, I apologize to the Naval Academies. I know you guys have beef there. Only on the football team. Only on the football field. I don't trust you. Sorry, Michigan. Next up, Michigan State, Ohio State. This is the Saturday 7:30 ABC game. Kirk Herbstreit will be leaving Gainesville and then heading up to Columbus, Ohio. Before we pick this game, I want to ask you a question. What restaurant do you think they're going to get food brought to the table at game day? Is it Swamp?
I want it to be Swamp because Swamp is probably going to be kaput in a couple months.
So I saw something on Twitter where Swamp was trying to be like, "Hey, let us do this for you, and can you talk about our restaurant?" And I was like, "Oh, that's incredibly smart." So, who do you think it will be, and then who do you want it to be?
I mean,
super niche Gainesville section here, but who do you?
This is tough because like I want it. I mean, I want it to be Leonardo's Pizza just because wait.
So which one? By the slice, 706, or the one with deep dish? By the slice. Slice. I'm sorry. You made the face.
What is wrong with you?
Yo, Leo, let me just tell you, Sundays, if you're in Gainesville, Sundays, Leo's Meat Lovers by the Slice, a slice of heaven is what that is, my friend. So fire. You want it to be Leo's, but you think it's going to be Swamp.
I think it's going to be Swamp.
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
Me too. I think it'll be Swamp. I want it to be Miapa.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to relish.
What is more Ooh, could you imagine Herbie? Could you imagine Reese Davis taking a bite of that? I could just picture
of the double tasty.
I could just picture Desmond Howard going, "What is this?" And we'll be like, "Desmond, you got to eat it now, but you also got to go back at like 10 p.m. when you're schmacked."
No, and it just hits different.
That's the thing. Where like it would be great if it was relish, but we need to get them schmacked, and it's like not happening for game day.
What we need to do is we need to be eclectic. We need to get some stuff from Swamp. We need to get some pizza from Leo's. Mm-hmm. We need to get the queso from La Tienda.
Ooh, fire.
We need to get the sushi from Dragonfly.
We need to get the jerk chicken from Reggae Shack.
Ooh.
Fire. And then of course, 69-cent wings from Mother's.
Mother's
wings, baby.
I was about to say the same thing.
Oh, I can't wait to be home. With that being said, who do you got? Michigan State or Ohio State?
Okay. I have the criminally underranked Ohio State Buckeyes winning this game. Tyler, by the way, they're ranked number 4 in the country.
I agree with you, and I also agree with you that they are criminally underranked. They are such a good football team.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we're going into week 6. I'm at the point now where I think that I'm going to start trusting what these teams are, not what we thought they would be.
Okay.
There are still some teams that will flip the switch that we thought they will, or some teams that will implode to be what we thought they would be. But I think at this point, I'm trusting from what I'm seeing from Ohio State, and they've probably played like the best team in the country, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. I was listening
if not 1-2.
I was listening to the college football podcast today with Kirk Herbstreit, and I know he played quarterback there, but like he really is unbiased when it comes to his takes. Like, let's be real. Some teams he doesn't watch as much film about. Florida, but it is what it is. For the most part, he's pretty good on that. He has them as his number 1 team in the country, and I think they may not be the best team in the country. because I still like Alabama more than them, but I think they're the second best team in the country, and they've played like the best team in the country.
I mean, I'm not backing off my take that Alabama's winning the championship, but like,
I mean, when you have 44,
when you have Devonta Smith,
all right, we're moving on. Next game, I was gonna make a joke, but I'm not even worth it. Next game, Pittsburgh traveling to North Carolina to play Duke Saturday, 8:00 on the ACC network. This is a phenomenal ACC network game. These are the games that they need to be showing.
I wish I got it.
Yeah, these are the games that they need to be showing because these are the really good conference games that they need. Just like the SEC network, like last week had Kentucky, South Carolina. That was a phenomenal conference game for the moment, you know?
Yeah.
I'm going first. I'm picking the Duke Blue Devils, much to the dismay of my cousin who went to North Carolina. I'm picking the Duke Blue Devils. I watched them play against Virginia Tech last week, and this Virginia Tech is bad, but they looked good. Cutcliffe has that offense moving. Daniel who?
Quentin Harris is balling.
He's balling, man. He's a senior.
And I love that we live in this. I love that we live in this world where Daniel Jones is balling in the NFL as much as he can. Like, he's only the second best rookie, but second best rookie quarterback.
I'd still take Kyler, but sure.
I'm talking about Gardner Minshew.
I don't know, but I'd still take. I knew I knew Minshew was first. That's a lock. I'm talking. I like Kyler Murray as second.
Okay, he's playing well as a rookie quarterback,
but
at the same time, Duke also has a good quarterback playing behind him. Was behind him. So I love that we're living in this world. Duke is a very good football team. A very good football team. But I'm gonna take Pitt because Pitt.
Let me just say thank you, by the way.
What?
Let me say thank you because this is the one game that we can kind of catch up ground on.
I think Pitt just has a way of uglying up these games, and they just play in this. When Pitt wins, it never makes sense. When Pitt loses, it's like, how did you lose that game? And I just think Pitt, they won the freaking Coastal Division last year doing the same kind of crap.
Don't understand.
So I think Pitt's going to find a way to win. Because Duke's only loss right now is to Alabama, and they haven't spiraled out of control because they lost to Alabama, which is credit to David Cutcliffe.
And it was competitive in the first half, but I chalk that up to players haven't playing a competitive game in forever.
It's first game of the season.
Yeah, first game is a crapshoot. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I think Pitt wins.
Our last 5-wide game, we got Cal traveling to Eugene, Oregon to play the Ducks. Saturday, 8:00 on Fox, Big Fox. Tyler, who do you got?
If Chase Garbers was playing in this game, I would have taken Cal.
Right, but
I honestly would have taken Cal. But Chase Garbers is out for an indefinite period of time, and I do not trust Devon Monster. I'm going with Oregon.
I'm going with Oregon. I like Herbert in this game. He's trying to improve his draft stock. I think he'll have his don't forget about me game this week. Prime time on Fox. It'll work out. Tyler, 2-point conversion attempt. I go first this week. This is a tough one, man. This is a tough one just because some of the games aren't really good.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of intriguing ones, but there's not great picks.
I'm gonna be super, super boring with mine. I'm gonna go with overcorrection Saturday. Northwestern is traveling to Nebraska, and I'm gonna take the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
The Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Overcorrection Saturday, my friend. Nebraska over Northwestern.
In fairness, Northwestern, both these teams did not have great Saturdays last week.
No, but I think Nebraska got embarrassed on national TV after having game day, something that won't happen to the Gators. Knocks on wood, says a quick Hail Mary. So, yeah, that's my pick. It was either that, listen, it was either that or, and we talked about this game beforehand. Where is it? Or Texas, West Virginia. And listen, we're doing this in good faith, and I want it to be done properly, so I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, I think I would say that I would call.
You would. You would be like,
I'd be like,
sir.
That's too easy.
Sir, please. Sir, please.
There's some intriguing matchups this week. Let's say a game that was in the past would have been interesting and would have been on our 5-wide, but isn't this year, is Washington at Stanford. That's not what I'm picking. Virginia Tech and Miami is who's actually bad.
Yeah.
One of these teams is actually bad, and the other one's just fake bad.
Yes.
But which one? We got some intriguing Big 12 games. I'm tempted to go with the fade Ole Miss train with Vandy over Ole Miss, but I'm not going to go to it because I'm not. But I'm going to go out west.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go real off the wall here.
All right. Who are you picking?
The Oregon State Beavers are going to notch a conference win against the UCLA Bruins.
Wow. This is okay. So ESPN used to do this thing called the toilet bowl game of the week, where it's like the two horrible teams. You're literally picking arguably the worst game in Power 5 this week.
I don't care because to me, this is actually interesting because Oregon State's offense, I think, is actually sneaky good. Mm-hmm. It has sneaky NFL players in Jamar Jefferson with Pierce, the running back, and wide receiver Isaiah Hodgins. Quarterback's not very good, but I like what Jonathan Smith is doing there. It's a long rebuild if it ever does get rebuilt.
Okay.
It's looking there. They don't know how to win these games. They almost beat Stanford. They almost beat Hawaii, but they don't know how to win those games. And UCLA has looked better since they lost to Arizona, but they've looked better since like on the field to the eyes since beating Washington State in the game that makes no sense. I think though that Oregon State's going to win.
I respect the decision, my friend.
And who saw this coming? Put your hand down.
I did not. You don't say that because they're going to think I raised my hand.
I'm saying that out to the world. I'm saying that out to the world.
Can you clarify, the listeners? I did not raise my hand.
Put your hands down.
Jeez. Oh, my. All right, Tyler. So just to recap our 5 wide and 2 point, we both picked UCF over Cincinnati. That's Friday, 8 o'clock on ESPN. We've both picked Iowa over Michigan. That's Saturday at noon on Fox. We've both picked Ohio State over Michigan State. That's Saturday, 7:30 on ABC. You have picked Pittsburgh, and I have picked Duke in that matchup, Saturday, 8 o'clock on ACC Network. And we have both picked Oregon over Cal, Saturday, 8 o'clock on Fox. My 2-point conversion is the Nebraska Cornhuskers over Northwestern. Your 2-point is Oregon State, the Beavers, over Chip Kelly's UCLA Bruins.
Wonderful. Going out on a limb. A tree limb.
So the 3 games that we have to really keep an eye on at the stadium and afterwards are Pittsburgh, Duke, Nebraska, Northwestern, Oregon State, UCLA, which I think all 3 games are after our game is over.
I believe
or is that Nebraska game? No, the Nebraska game's at 4. So we'll keep an eye on that one in the stadium.
We'll just find out. We'll find out later.
Yeah. Apparently
the Wi-Fi on the Swamp is better now.
Is it?
It's really good.
Because there was no Wi-Fi. Back in my day, none of this Wi-Fi was a thing that you could get in the Swamp. You had to yell down to the stand and wait for the scores to pop up on the Jumbotron.
I remember last year meeting all the new freshmen in the School of Theater and Dance group coming to games, and I just look at them and like, you're so spoiled. There's actual internet in the Swamp. You have Dan Mullen now for 4 years. Get out of here. Back in my day, our offense was terrible.
Listen, you at least had 1 year of Mullen. My teams were Will Muschamp and Jim McElwain. The bad Will Muschamp, not the Sugar Bowl Will Muschamp.
2012.
Not the good Driscoll. Oh my God.
Oh well.
All right, my friend. It is time for our moments of the week. I go first. Correct?
Correct.
What is my moment of the week? Honestly, my moment of the week is just finding out that game day's going to Gainesville. I could not sleep Saturday night. I watched all the games. I was up till 3 a.m, just literally anxious, and my body was like, I can't wait to be there. I can't wait to be there. So that was my moment of the week, man. Honestly, that and seeing those throwback jerseys on Sunday morning when I woke up just takes the cake, man.
Yeah. My moment of the week is something that I've been doing the last couple of weeks, but I got to do it this past week, and it was very fun. But it's I work for my station. I work Friday Night Fever, which is in Panama City for WFBB News 13. Is a Friday night football highlight show.
Yeah.
It comes on as part of the 10:30 Friday Night News. Sorry, the 10 Friday Night News, and it goes into a Facebook Live after show. And I get sent out a lot to shoot a lot of high school football. And that's just really it's really fun to see the purity of the sport.
Yeah.
And it's high school and it's kind of dumb and kind of.
But that's where
some teams are so bad.
Yeah, but that's where the sport grows.
But it's just it's in small. I get sent out to a lot of small towns, which actually last week I got sent out to a town, and I parked the van that I was at, and I'm an hour and a half away from the station, and I have to be back by a certain time so I can get the highlights done and get them in, which is a real rush, and we do it every week, and shout out to all the girls that do it. They're all amazing.
Awesome.
And including friend of the pod, Courtney Mims.
Including friend of the pod, Courtney Mims, who is in charge of the sports program, right?
Yeah, she is the sports director at WBB News 13. Her and Emma Stamps do the actual show, but they go out and shoot and edit highlights, and all the other female reporters go out and shoot and edit highlights. They don't have to. It's a volunteer thing.
We love it.
And we all do it. But last week, side note, last week I actually went out to a game like an hour and a half away, and some people parked in the driveway of like the huge parking lot. So like me and 80 other cars are like stuck because these people, like where you would usually turn in to go to the back part of the parking lot,
there's cars parked. So yeah. did you pull the whole like, hey, I'm on the news, I need to get this stuff back by a certain time?
I went to a police officer and was like, I am acting like here's my ID, my shirt, like my camera, my van, like I'm with the news.
I have to get back.
Leave. It's not like, oh yeah, just stay and like suck it up. So he's very thankful for that police officer. But just shout out to all the girls that do that. They're awesome.
Nice, wonderful. And we also love to see in an industry dominated by men, we love to see so many strong women that are getting that opportunity and doing a phenomenal job. So shout out to them as well. I don't know any of you except for friend of the pod, Courtney Mims. First ever guest on Sideline Judgment, friend of the pod, Courtney Mims. Very glad that we were able to have that happen in this industry. We love that. We love that. Tyler, we've reached the end of this episode. Are we getting a reaction pod after the game? An immediate reaction?
We might. We stay tuned. We might have a bonus. We might have bonus pod.
Might have a bonus pod coming in.
We might have a bonus pod that's stitched together from before the game, after the game.
We might.
Bits and pieces.
You might hear. We
don't know. We don't know. Who knows?
Listen, you might hear Liquid Courage, Sergio and Tyler. You might hear us giving some takes before the game. You may even get like a little halftime update of what we're doing.
Maybe.
We may
you might
stitch
hear
it together.
Some fabled friends of the pod.
Some fabled friends of the pod, special guests. You never know what you're going to get when Sergio and Tyler head back to Gainesville. And honestly, we don't know what we're going to get because this is the first time we're going back since we've graduated. So we hope that you enjoy this Auburn-Florida game as much as we enjoy it at the Swamp and back home with our friends and family. Just listen. It's emotional, you know, and we do this pod because we love our school, we love our team, we love each other, and we love the environment that Florida football creates, and we're just so excited to go back and be able to be a part of it in person again, because we're a part of it every weekend, Tyler, but this time we'll be a part of it again in person. This has been yet another episode of the beloved podcast Sideline Judgments. My name is Sergio.
My name is Tyler.
And this week, we're 100% biased. Go Gators.
Absolutely. Go Gators.